prefer to win the slightly shorter games, but apparently Gerald did not, and maybe this man does not either. On the top right side of Ice and Chrome, we look at the main base of the American Protoss player, has the best name in esports, Max Angel, also known as Astrea.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, she is Scarlett. She doesn't have as cool of a name.
I mean, nobody can compete with Max Angel. There's no shame in that.
It's true. It's true. Astrea going for the very, very fast pro block, so Scarlett has to take this other base.
I think if I ever have a son, I'll call him Max Angel.
Yeah?
Yeah. So change your last name, son. But Daddy, I want your name. No, you're Max Angel. Trust me, you're going to be grateful when you grow up. Everybody's going to love your name.
It's a pretty sick name, man. My brother actually, I don't think Chernega is that sick of a name. It's not like the lamest name either. It's kind of cool. It's unique, whatever. But my brother got our last name tattooed down the right side of his calf.
Ooh.
Like, why? I don't know. But it's there. What an interesting tattoo. And despite having no interest in guns, also has an AR-15 on his back. I just can't stand either one. I don't know why.
This is like the last thing I ever expected.
Yeah, well, my brother was kind of a, like, literally, he was a punk. He had a bright pink mohawk and did things just to rebel. And I guess when my parents would kind of make fun of their last name, he was like, well, I love my last name. And then he went and got it tattooed. So, you know.
I mean, I don't know if I can really laugh, right? I've got my nickname on my arm, but there's a little more to it than that.
Yeah, at least yours is kind of like tiny. Like I mean like his entire like leg muscle. So
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, some people have done that with Rotterdam, but I never thought that looks very pretty. Anyways, let's talk about some PvZ. That was a great little story. I did enjoy it. It's going to be a Stargate coming out of Astrea here on Ice and Chrome. Astrea's not much of a double Stargate guy, is he though?
I don't remember, honestly. Like, I don't pin him as one, and you know, from what I remember, but I actually don't ever. I don't think I've never seen it. You know, like I think it'll happen one of these games. Ice and Chrome. We'll see about that. Astrea used to have a very peculiar style of like any matchup. That's what he was initially known for before he just basically got really good. Was he had some kind of unique decisions, unique builds. He took risks too, where he had to kind of like temper them a little bit. He was taking too many risks, and then eventually got better at actually deciding when that was good, when it wasn't. And that's where we find ourselves now. Astrea has just made some very good calls in some very desperate games, and this apparently is not going to be any type of weird game. Actually, very normal so far, just the single Stargate.
I actually really like that scouting on the Adept. I love the positioning in between all the bases, then shading through the mineral line at the third, trying to see how many drones there are. Obviously, these are things like we know there's nothing weird happening, but if you're Astrea heading into a best of 5 against Scarlett, I mean, how many times didn't Scarlett start off with a good old Link Flood or a Baneling Bust, right? I mean, that's definitely something Scarlett is super capable of. So I like that Astrea is playing this very safe and is checking all the marks down on the checklist.
Getting a Void Ray here could just be for the defense. Like, you can get for Overlords, that's what I was looking for. Overlords, as well as actually defend against any early Roaches. Pretty safe opener indeed. The second Oracle is going to pop out after the Void Ray, which I think is the first time I've seen that in this particular order. Unique.
Yeah, people like to change it up. They're like Void Ray, Oracle, 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 Void Ray, Oracle, Void Ray, Oracle. People are like, what does it mean? What is like, I don't know. I want to get a Void Ray out. Obviously, if you open up with an Oracle, that first Oracle does gather up some additional energy, so that's kind of nice to get some revelations. And sometimes Zerg players are a little late on the Sport Rollers, and maybe you feel like if you open up with a Void Ray, the Oracles will never get any damage done, so maybe making one Oracle before the safety Void is a good way to still get some damage done. But I mean, that first Oracle wasn't that successful, right? What did you get? Like a Zergling, a Creep Tumor, and a drone?
Yeah. Well, maybe the Void Ray was pretty unnecessary. There used to be a time, you know, before this patch, obviously, like a long time ago, where opening up a Void Ray was kind of considered okay, but it really died off. As you kind of pointed out earlier in an earlier series, he just was like, well, I'd rather build this other unit. Now it's a bit cheaper. Hey, go wild, I guess. Definitely a good spotter, can still do some harassment, and Astrea's even set up for like a potential 3-pronged attack. Depths in the natural, Oracles in the third, and a Void Ray in the main. Maybe?
Yep. I gotta say, I'm already surprised that these adepts are just able to shade into the natural like that. This is pretty proper damage for adept without resonating glaives. 5 drones go down. Oracles are thinking about going for something at the third. Obviously, Queen in his 4 is a bit dangerous. Void Ray is, I think, just trying to deny a 4th base. Getting the Queen as well, that's nice for Astrea.
Pretty nice opener right there. I think you're right about the Void Ray, just maybe gonna move in if a 4th base is taken in a bit too much of a hurry. Hydra's Den, Ling, Baneling, Hydra. Makes a lot of sense. And Astrea will be using Blink and then probably eventually Colossus. Scarlett is on to his tactics. Queens are here to protect against the Void Ray. Might get dragged into him. Good control.
Void Ray still don't really like Queens very much. If you have a whole bunch of them, plus 1 air weapons maybe. But 1 Void Ray definitely does not want to take on 2 Queens. It's not going to go well. Now, maybe if 2 Oracles show up as well, then I think 2 Queens, all of a sudden, it's not that big of an issue. Even 3 Queens, I think 2 Oracles and a Void Ray, they should be able to do quite well there.
Not going to be the decision for Astrea. Maybe, he could have come back, but on to more important matters, I suppose, which is getting his macro all set up. His gateways are finishing. His build is almost ready to go. Doing some really nice, thorough scouting with double hallucinations, as well as the Oracles. Gonna get full confirmation that it is not a Spire. It is, in fact, Ling, Baneling, Muta, or shoot, Ling, Baneling, Hydra. It's been 7 hours, whatever. So that is nice. And I think Astrea could move out with a Blink +1 attack and do some harassment, maybe pokey proddy. There we go.
I honestly am positively surprised by the amount of long games that we have seen lately, and that whenever I've been casting as well as these Oracles do get a bit too far forward, I feel like it used to be quite rare. Like I could do an entire day of casting and then be like, okay, we had like 1 or 2 games that went above 20 minutes, but that's about it. And now I feel like in almost every single DreamHack day that I got, there are multiple pretty long epic games throughout multiple different series as well, so it's been a lot of fun, but obviously it does make it a little exhausting after like 5 best of 5s, but we're gonna pull through Zombie Grub. This is going to be awesome as Astrea is starting to get pretty adventurous here with his Blink Stalk on.
Yeah, we got some action, but it's not. I don't think Astrea is going to stay around that long. I don't think Scarlett's going to take that much damage. It's more about, I guess, keeping tabs on the Zerg. Scarlett is going up to a Hive, but I haven't seen a Lurker Den quite yet. I figure that is the ultimate goal, but hopefully not forgetting the Lurker Den, that's for sure. We want to start those upgrades soon, too.
Hydra Viper. It's back.
I mean, do they need the Lurkers? Just abduct all the Colossus and the Hydras, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, pure Hydra is actually very good, right, against Stalkers. If you can just take care of those robot units, you can throw a Blinding Cloud in the mix as well. Who really needs the Lurkers?
Exactly, yeah. Well, there we finally have the Lurker Den. So, apparently Scarlett does need the Lurkers. She, kind of struggled against the Supreme late game of M. Canning a couple days ago, a week ago, whatever, but
I mean, who
this
doesn't,
isn't really...
to be fair?
No, you're right. It was actually the theme of that group was everyone struggled against M. Canning's late game. But this isn't really the late game that we were talking about we can compare to. This is definitely more normal thing. Blink, Stalker, Colossus, and we can see how good Astrea is at those force fields. It's often what it feels like it comes down to.
I mean, I've heard that even Dark and Rogue don't let around Korea when M. Canning is streaming. They too fear the late game of the can. Can't blame him. Can't blame him.
It's an M. Canning stream at like morning time Korea.
Maybe. All I know is that I've never seen Dark fire up a ladder stream while M. Canning is streaming. Coincidence? I think not. A couple of Banelings trying to crash into probes here, but Astrea is doing an excellent job warping in a couple Stalkers. I feel like Protoss players got a lot better at keeping their probes alive as well.
Well, you know what's kind of odd is that in general, I didn't really expect the big transfer over into Lurkers that we seem to have found here. I still thought that Ling Baneling Ravager or Ling Baneling Hydra was working out pretty well, even when it occasionally was beat. I was like, oh, this looks like a pretty good composition. It seems like we had so many more Zergs just go into Roach Hydra Lurker, or in this case, right, Ling Hydra Lurker, but yeah, I haven't seen so much emphasis on the Baneling drops, the Baneling run-bys, or that +2, which is done, so they would be deadly.
Could be because the Protoss players have really fallen in love with the Blink Stalker again, even in this matchup. Maybe Zerg players just feel that against Blink Stalkers, you do really want to get a couple Lurkers out, make your life a lot easier. And of course the Lurkers did get the range buff as well, right? A while ago.
Yeah. Definitely have been changes in this matchup, and not just because of any patches. Like, I think the Blink Stalker Colossus thing is really still a recent development, in fact, in the grand scheme of things, 10 years of StarCraft. So, yeah, definitely has been changing up. The Lurkers are very fearsome when they have both upgrades. Before both upgrades, it can still be a little more questionable, and Scarlett does not have the Speed Burrow quite yet. Range is most important, but Speed Burrow is going to help actually pounce on top of overzealous Astrea, for instance.
I like how brutal these Protoss players are becoming as well. There's like 3, 4, 5 spine crawlers per base. We don't give a damn. Eventually, we'll break it down. We too can channel the inner swarm. That's a lot of Zerglings though running into the natural one. This is bad news because these Lings already have +2. They've got Adrenal Glands as well. Oh, this is going to hurt so much.
That's so much damage. Oh no. Wow. I mean, it's going to be worse. A Stasis Trap caught like a third of them at the very least. And Zealots are going to clean it up. This was a lot of damage to take. 28 probes go down. A lot of distraction as well. So Astrea couldn't really push maybe a position if he did find one. At least he got some counter damage on the economy, but 7 drones versus 30 probes.
Yeah, the Zerglings are still destroying everything in the main base, so it's not just the probes that went down. Now Gateway is heavily unpowered, and that Forge is starting to take damage as well. +3 is more than halfway done. I really hope that Astrea is able to keep that alive at least. The Templar Archives is in a bit of trouble. Zealots will save it at the last second, but that was a lot of damage.
Oh no, Astrea lost track of the army, and all of his High Templars actually got stuck. They couldn't even retreat. They had to go back around the cannon to the Lurkers, and Astrea is actually just embracing a bit of the base trade. He's got a decent amount of force fields, and so that could be rather scary if Scarlett doesn't get back stat. She's already on her way home with only 4 Lurkers, though. Like, this army at home, not really that bad. Or certainly not that great.
And Zealots in the main base as well, killing more and more drones. So this is actually starting to become quite decent for Astrea. That Colossus died before it got abducted. The other 2 do get abducted as well, but only one of them goes down for now. Good micro there by Astrea. Keep the last Colossus alive. The answer is no, as one more abduct does land on it. But look at the main base. These Zealots are going to town on everything that Scarlett had there.
Yeah, you know, those Vipers really came in clutch to help out the Lurker Hydra Force to defend, but the Zealots in the main, and I think Scarlett forgot that she had like a bunch of Banelings. They were just chilling at the 3rd base that could have helped against either option, the main base or on the attack. So that was just a bit of a mistake there.
Astrea is chrono boosting an unpowered Forge. I really hope that he realizes that it's been unpowered for a while. As we see Banelings trying to connect with High Templars, that doesn't really quite work. Oh, that +3 is going to take a very long time, even with chrono boost, Zombie Grub, when it's not being powered.
It's going to take a little while. Hopefully he notices it. Yeah, he just put his guys back in the gas. The Banelings trying to get some probe damage done. These are the ones that, yeah, I think she forgot about for a little while. Really didn't find too much, except they helped clear up a couple of Zealots. Astrea has done a fabulous job just pulling Scarlett apart too much. She didn't have that much of a bank before this all happened, so she's struggling to get back to a decent army size, or actually a decent drone count. Only at 43, that's where most of the supply is.
Yep. Meanwhile, Astrea still sitting comfortably at 81 probes, despite the fact that 38 probes did go down earlier against that Zergling run by. Astrea already economically recovered. Still building works as well, now going up to 85. Scarlett is not really having the same luxury. The Lurker count at this point is 2. I mean, what are you really going to do with 2 Lurkers? We do see 10 more being morphed at this point. Okay, well, that's a more reasonable number, but Astrea's maxed out, and I feel like he wants some more damage.
Well, this could be kind of like a PvZ version of the Thermal Siphono game. Maybe she just stays on 55. Well, she's not 59,
Nothing
59
will ever
rounds.
be like that game, Zombie Grub.
No, probably won't. But she could stay on a low drone count for the time of a PvZ. We would not expect it, right? Usually at 15 minutes, think 80 versus 80. But she could try and then just have that better army and look for an opportunity to jump on top of Astrea. But Astrea is doing a decent job of splitting up his army. Can't really save his disruptors from abducts, though.
Yeah, I mean, these traits, they do eventually start adding up. And I'm actually quite impressed that Scarlett now is at 190 supply. You said Astrea really wants to go for it at the bottom, maybe at 2 locations at once, but now Templar is getting feedback as well. Astrea pressed hold position with his army at the bottom, so a couple of lurkers actually got shots off before this fight really started. But Scarlett have enough to survive, maybe with some reinforcements. Marcus are good.
That was a pretty sick snipe on the observer, but there was actually another observer on surveillance mode right above it. Okay, that one finally goes down too. So kind of barely holding there. Maybe gonna get the last 2 High Templars. Close to it. Scarlett takes another bit of damage, and Astrea is definitely not done. Also expanding very well behind it, continuing to tech up. Astrea's doing everything correctly.
Yeah, I love the unit positioning again. Like looking at the minimap of an Astrea game is always really fun, just to keep an eye on the army movement. Purification Novas will not connect. Good job there by Scarlett moving those lurkers around. The Scarlett have some, way more lurkers right now at the bottom. So if Astrea is going to try his luck one more time, I feel like, do you remember that game Astrea had against Dark in the GSL?
Yeah.
Actually, Astrea does get a little carried away sometimes, right, with the multi-prong.
Sometimes, yeah. It's, eventually, the 7 Zealots that were getting enough to, reasonably use 7 Zealots for start to not. And then you're like, oh, I'm throwing away 7 minerals at a time. Okay, maybe I should stop. You do have to be careful. But I still like the way that Astrea is trying to play this out. It's not quite working. Scarlett's kind of caught onto it. Good lurker split on her end and back up to 71 workers. Astrea's up to 92, so his economy's still much better. But now Scarlett's at that better drone count. Should be building a bit of a bank.
Economy is a lot better, but that obviously means the army is a bit smaller as well for Astrea. And once again, we're looking at an army that is consisting of 17 Zealots. Now, I do love me some Zealots, but mostly just for run-bys, not really part of a main army engagement in this phase in the game. So I'm actually a bit worried. Now, obviously, carriers on the way, that's great news, but Scarlett is starting to build up a bank as well, because there is just nothing happening. Nova's going forward, a couple of disruptors do go down. But obviously, Scarlett is able to afford a Spire at this point. A couple of abducts land as well on these High Templars. I mean, I love carriers if they're ahead in upgrades, which they are and will be for quite some time. But if the Corruptors get uneven upgrades, then the carriers are not actually a guaranteed way to win this game anymore.
I thought Scarlett was just threatening us, but apparently she's actually going to keep it true. 5 30-minute games incoming, you guys. Nothing's going to be really decided anytime soon. Astrea can't break Scarlett, and Scarlett can't really maneuver onto the map. So, just prepare to wait for, I guess, Corruptors eventually will have to be brought in, so Scarlett will have to trade out something, but it's gonna be a long series.
Scarlett did have a 45-minute game against Neep on this map, right, in the previous season. I keep trying to say season 1, but obviously I mean Masters summer.
Right, yeah. I think you're right about that. I remember something like that. I mean, also her and Neep just had so many different against each other.
I think I was on Ice and Chrome as well, so maybe we're in for a 45-minute game. I think 198 army supplies, something along those lines.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, let's go there again. Let's do that. That'll be fun. I can't wait for Roddy to be up until 5 in the morning.
A couple of great abducts here. Oh my goodness. Astrea is really starting to lose a lot of units. Like, he did so well in the beginning stages. And it felt that Astrea had Scarlett on the ropes, but in the last 4 or 5 minutes, I really felt absolutely nothing went Astrea's way. Scarlett is now maxed out. Obviously, less workers means bigger army and some money in the bank. And that is even a second spy already as well. Is this game slipping away from Astrea at this point?
I do think he's trading out units he doesn't want to. He wants to trade out units, but the way he's been doing it, the units that are being traded out, I don't think that's ideal. He's trying to get some more carriers, and we'll now be at 9 as these last 4 finish up, but not really any disruptors anymore. No other Void Rays to help out, so really about 9 carriers and 6 High Templars. That's a pretty powerful army, but Scarlett is moving in, taking out 2 bases now. As the top left is even mining for Astrea, he's actually quite, he's going to start running out of minerals if he's not careful. He's now taking the engagement. Feedbacks are coming down, but not enough of them as the abducts are just a little bit too much better. Or maybe not. Actually sees both carriers.
Okay, why is Scarlett fighting this army and why is Astrea disengaging? Astrea, you've got like 7 carriers against 5 Hydras. Please fight. In no universe do you ever lose a fight against like 4 Hydras, my friend. So now the lurkers are left behind, but there's no observer, no detection.
That is so funny, man. Like, Scarlett was taking a fight through a choke, which, I mean, it initially looked okay, I guess, before the storms hit, but the storms hit pretty quickly. Yeah, but the Duck's not actually able to take out those 2 carriers. It took forever, and then Astrea, not really cleaning things up when he could have, finally is going to clear up at least the rest of the lurkers. That was certainly a trade, and Scarlett was at least able to push back Astrea to, what, no, this is like 6 bases instead of 8, while she also grabs her own additional 2 bases.
That was so funny that Scarlett was taking a fight that was absolutely unwinnable because there were more carriers than Hydras. And I mean, Hydra's a pretty good zombie crop. You know, they don't exactly, this is not a nice username video. They don't really one-shot the carriers out of the sky. And then Australia's like, oh my god, you've got 5 Hydras, I'm out of here. And I'm like, no, turn around and fight. Oh, pretty funny.
Not quite sizing up each other's armies that well, or maybe thinking Corruptors were on the way. I don't know. Corruptors are now out, and double upgrades are well on the way for them. But it is a constant micro battle, the feedbacks and the abducts. Lots of zealots being used, trying to tear down a Scarlett's left base. It's not even really mining anymore, but if this goes down, then maybe the natural goes down.
Exactly.
Maybe some tech as well.
Yeah, like people often look at that basically and be like, why would you even attack that? There's nothing to gain, but it's just kind of an entry point. If you take out this base, take out the spine crawlers here, you can run into the natural, eventually into the main, take out some tech buildings, so it does make some sense.
Well, the middle could be an engagement. Stray is kind of maneuvering forward. All the Corruptors and Vipers are here, though. Ooh, trying to micro a War Prism High Templar in it against Zerg. Against this type of army against Zerg, I guess I should say, is like, seems dangerous, but I'd love to see it work.
Land a couple feedbacks. You never know. I feel like the High Templars really have been for like impossible missions all along. I'm like, alright. Oh, a couple of carriers gonna get abducted. I mean, these are painful losses. Like losing a High Templar or a Disruptor is what it is. But having multiple carriers being abducted, that's painful. And after losing 3 of them, Astrea decides that he's gonna rebuild them and does not want to engage yet. But all of this is really good for Scarlett. The longer this game goes, the better the upgrades will become on the Corruptors, and the stronger the Zerg army becomes, in my opinion.
I mean, I am a little worried that Scarlett has gotten over the problematic area, right? And is now going into like, okay, which race is better, basically? Like, which one can find more opportunities is a better, less controversial way to say it. But, usually what we see is that like maybe in a direct fight where everything is like lined up well for the Protoss, maybe their army would be better with the perfect mixture of carriers and Void Rays, sorry. But it seems like it doesn't really ever happen that often. I mean, the Vipers are, I think, a little bit sneakier than the feedbacks are to counter them. And the Corruptors also are very microable, whereas even if you target fire with the carriers, I don't know, it just doesn't feel quite the same. We'll see what happens. It is going to also be a struggle of economies. And Astrea at one point was attacking left and right. Maybe he could do it again.
That's a lot of Zealots. Zealots going to chase down the Hydras. I feel like 1 Lurker as a backup point would be kind of nice. Scarlett's going to send multiple Lurkers instead. I'm just getting very worried for Astrea because he was in such a fantastic position. He's kind of let the game stabilize at one point, and then Scarlett completely got back in this game. And I think at one point Scarlett was down when it came to units lost resources, like 5,000 or 6,000 maybe, or let's say 3,500 more than Astrea. At this point, Astrea has lost 4,000 resources more. Now units are just coming in from every angle, and this fight is getting really chaotic. What? A death carrier got abducted? What was that?
I don't understand this fight much at all, but right at the end of the day, hatchery goes down. Most of the carriers evacuate. Viper's looking for the kill, but recall's going to be good. Astrea replaces the supply with a lot of Void Rays. Trying to protect his army here.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Rays are pretty good, but Parasitic Bomb is still very, very good against Void Rays, and we can potentially get a Fungal as well. I don't think it's even really necessary. I think, if they have a lot of Void Rays, you can just spam Vipers. It's as silly as it sounds, even having like 7 or 8 Vipers is completely okay. So you always have little duct energy, and then you can just spam Parasitic Bombs. And Void Rays, if you're splitting them, they're not fighting, right? Because most of the time they're flying away, so then you're already winning the fight as a Zerg.
It's pretty tough. Like, you have to get the feedbacks first, and then, kind of hope you got all the feedbacks, and there's not, like, a couple Vipers hanging around somewhere. And then actually engage, and not be in a situation where the Zerg player can just go, oh, you prismatically align, I'm leaving. And and then they come back later. It's tough to get the perfect engagement. But, you know, part of getting that perfect engagement is trying to find your opponent out of position and not paying attention, which is where, again, that mobility comes into play. Can Astrea actually somehow get Scarlett, I mean, off her stance here? Because she's actually pretty set. Your bank isn't looking that impressive. Neither one of them are, I suppose. But she does have that very good army with 2 bases now mining.
Yep. And obviously the Void Rays have been scouted as well. There are 37 Corruptors. That is so many Corruptors. The only thing that I'm a bit worried about is they only have +1 armor. There was really a moment for the carriers to shine. Because like Corruptors having attack upgrades is great, but if you can just really force the fight and get on top of them, then maybe it's all kind of doable. And don't forget, Astrea still has gateways, has good gateway upgrades. But at this point, I feel the Protoss army is a sitting duck. There we go. 1 carrier gets abducted. The 2nd carrier gets abducted. The 3rd one gets abducted. We're going to try to maybe get a magical storm. Nope, instead we lose the War Prism. Do we even have storm, by the way?
Yeah, that's prepared for it there. DT harassment's not really going so hot, and as I said, neither one of them has a bank, so this is actually not totally inexpensive run-bys that aren't working. It's just taking a bit of Astrea's potential maxed out air army, first of all, and then also a lot of the bank. And he's also mining rather steadily on some fresh bases, but he keeps on losing these units to abducts.
Yep. This is really not going well. At this point, Astrea has lost 10,000 resources more, just to give you guys an idea of the trades that we've been witnessing over the last 5-6 minutes. I feel like instead of having like multiple armies, maybe just go for it with 1 big army, have a couple disruptors on the ground to fire at support crawlers. It's always going to be difficult, but just sitting at home and letting your units get abducted 1 by 1, I mean, that's just never going to work.
And not unless you're very good about protecting them with feedbacks. They're just, they're gonna be found. They're gonna be abducted. There's not much you can do about it once that happens. If there's a counter abduct from Protoss, that'd be the spell to get. But there is not, so.
I'll take Parasitic Bomb. You know what? They can keep abduct, but I'll take Parasitic Bomb. On top of that Corruptors, when they're stacking up, trying to one-shot a carrier. Oh, think of the damage.
Are you sure you don't want Microbial Shroud?
Hey, I think Shroud's pretty good, okay?
Yeah, sure. That's why we see it all the time. That's why we saw it in this.
No, okay, like, Shroud is obviously not good because there's always AoE. But in games where there is no AoE, Shroud is actually amazing. It's super good.
Nice.
I know, nobody believes me, but like, try building only carriers, guys. No, it doesn't work. You actually need to get Disruptors of Storm. It's pretty terrible.
I kind of felt like there was like a video where the guy's like in disbelief. This lady's trying to explain what like spaghetti is or something, and he's like, "Yeah, if my grandma had wheel, she'd be a tricycle or something like that." It's like, well, yeah, Roddy, sure, it'd be great if nothing else existed in this game.
No, you know, every now and then you play a game without Warp Gate, you can't afford the Robo, and then you're like, okay, we'll carry us, and all of a sudden, bam, Microbio Shroud. It's pretty intimidating. I've been there. I've lost games to Shroud. I'm the only one, but I have lost games to Shroud.
Oh, well, this, funnily enough, is kind of an intimidating ground army. Because Scarlett doesn't have much of a ground army. She has 4 lurkers that are out of position, 6 infestors that are gonna, fungal archons, and then a Hydra. So, I mean, Astrea actually could have kept going. Alright, well.
I can't wait for the chat race to get Parasitic Bomb. Like, I'm not even gonna cast that fight, I'm just gonna talk about how much damage Parasitic Bomb is going to do against the chat race.
Okay, I'm fine with that, that's fine. It's gonna happen eventually. Astrea is really trying to find a weakness here, and maybe Scarlett's lack of ground army is a bit of a weakness. Like, kind of the old, tech swap, turning on the Zerg, going from ground to air, and vice versa, but obviously a lot more difficult for any of the race but Zerg to do that. You could try it, but it's so far not gotten the big damage, even though it caught Scarlett a little off guard initially.
I really have the feeling this is not going to be much of a fight. I hate to be that guy, but I've never seen an army of 18 Void Rays achieve.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What? Oh, there's the fungal! Oh. That's already... Oh,
no. I can't believe he took that fight just over the Spore Crawlers. I mean, he didn't know about the Infestors, but... that's the best start.
This game really just slipped away from Astrea, and... I like run-bys, I like multiple armies and stuff, but against all the lurkers and the static defense, eventually if it's not working, then you just gotta go for the big straight-up fight. This Scarlett is actually rallying a couple of infestors into cannons in the top center of the map. Obviously this game is getting a little bit hectic, but I mean the ground army is nice, but there is Neuro Parasite as well, so these Archons are not gonna make a difference. Where are the chat rays? I want to see Void Rays die, somebody love.
They're moving over to the top right. They're taking the long way around to get to the left side of the map, I think. Idea being that maybe attack right and attack left, but being pretty out of position to attack the left side. Yeah, that's taking a while.
They're afraid. The Void Rays are hiding.
Well, that too. I mean, wouldn't you be afraid?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of things I'd like to be on this map, but a Void Ray is not one of them.
It's so crazy how different this game is compared to like Scarlett versus M-Canning on this map. It just feels like it's a completely different pace, you know? It's just like, oh yeah, when is Astrea gonna die? When is Void Ray gonna get parasitic bombed?
That's it really does feel like we're watching the inevitable car crash of all the Void Rays. I'm like, no, stop, get out. They can't hear us. The music is too loud. Listening to Miley Cyrus party in the USA. Oh. There are probes killing infestors.
Oh, I would love if they got an infestor. Value right there. Might get a spore crawler though. It's pretty good too. Are we seeing Astrea trying to max out? Is that the path we've been led into?
I mean, to do what? Make more Void Rays? The
Apparently.
Void Rays are gonna get that Shriek kill. Oh my goodness. Zealot's actually finding more success than anything else really in the last 5 minutes.
Also the probes kill the spore crawler.
Nice.
There is that.
Fighting drones.
I hope this continues forever.
This is esports, guys.
So Astrea built more Void Rays, Roddy. That is actually his point.
Okay, and Scarlett's building Broodlords. I mean, I guess they're pretty good against Zealots and Archons, but against the million Chat Rays that are being built, maybe not the ultimate unit.
I guess she's a little afraid that Astrea is going to go like more back into the ground army. Not only that, having a couple to help take out High Templars is not bad, but yeah, she's in a lot of ground army so far. But now it's all back to the Void Rays. There they are. Scarlett's going to come over and respond. And how quick can Astrea run away from this? Because I think he'll have to run away. I don't know what he envisions will happen when the actual fight comes. Do you think that he just like won't fight at all?
I don't think he's really been thinking about that. He's like, Chopping down at the defenses is good. Trying to find some economic damage is good. Getting a bigger army. I don't think he really has a plan on how to win this fight. You don't win these fights. This is not possible. Not with Void Rays.
Maybe not. I guess this is not a position he often finds himself in. I could have sworn he's gotten to a couple of late game PvZs lately. You know, not just like 2 years ago, but maybe in the past, like the carrier thing didn't work out either, right? Like it could just be one of those like defeatist, like, well, I tried it this way before, I gotta try it a new way now. But I don't think this is gonna be any better.
I feel like the carriers didn't even really have a real shot though. Well, the last carrier is going to get abducted.
I mean, thank God, now it's 4 Void Rays. I didn't need that carrier anyway.
Astrea building a Nexus. What was that?
His third.
Oh, yeah, there's minerals left. Sick.
He finally retook it. Good attempt at a split. Good recall. But still, question marking, what is the final fight?
I have the feeling that like Astrea is like, you know what? I'm gonna lend some feedbacks. I'm gonna spread out the Void Rays in like a 270 degrees angle. Fly on top of the Corruptors and prismatic alignment. Wait, what is that? What is that on the production? Oh, that's a Tempest thing.
Yeah, it's a Tempest upgrade, of which he has 0 Tempest.
I think he has one though.
Oh, does he? Oh, you're right, he does. Along with that one carrier. Get that out of here.
Well, that 40 extra damage on the Spore Crawler is really going to teach Scarlett a lesson.
Oh, man. I mean, at least there won't be Spore Crawler Forest, right? There might be a billion Vipers and a billion Corruptors. There won't be Spore Crawler Forest. Thanks, Blizzard. No, this is still just a questionable move by Astrea. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, he is making one of the worst possible compositions. Yeah. Even though we have seen also the carrier, type of composition, type of army also fail, I do think it gets closer to winning in these situations. And now he's heading on Tempest, so he's going to be using that upgrade. Okay.
Yep. I mean, they will take care of sport crawlers. That's going to be great, but that's also not going to save you against the two beautiful spells that are called Fungal Growth and Parasitic Bomb.
Well, clearing up some static defense with the ground army. That is now, I mean, it can clear up static defense, yeah, but it can't even really help with the engagement because the Brood Lords have been added in. Brood Wars. Yep. There you go. Freebie Archon.
Like, I know some people might be wondering, like, well, if not Void Race, then what should Astrea be building? Like, I would have loved to see Astrea just be a little more aggressive with the carriers. What I really don't like is that people always back off after, like, they see the first Viper, as Void Rays are going to snipe a base, by the way, on the bottom side and a couple of spores. That's kind of cool. But it's like, they have carriers, they let the two Vipers that are out on the map in that phase in the game abduct two carriers, and they're like, well, let's go back and rebuild. And then the Vipers get energy again, and it's just rinse and repeat. Like, sometimes just go for it. Even if you lose the first carrier, the second carrier, even 3 carriers, at least keep going and actually get a fight out of it rather than just sit there and let them all get picked up one by one.
Yeah, you said it, that they didn't really get a chance to even do anything in this game. They appeared as, because like basically they were supposed to, like showed up on the job, then they didn't do anything on the job. They're like, I'm here. All right, I guess I died. And then they were let go. We're gonna make another carrier again. When you know that they can be pretty good, especially when you do start to control the map a little bit more. So it's now you finding the feedback instead of them finding the abducts, and that's all about being aggressive. Astrea kind of missed his opportunity. There was one point where he was also very low on bank, where both of them were, and I guess also he thought, you know, I have to get this like really good army, as opposed to just biding his time, building up the carriers and doing more harassments. But this is not that great of an army, actually. It might have been a knee-jerk reaction to a bunch of corruptors, but he kept on doing it.
3 Void Rays right now. that's a lot of Void.
So quickly. It dies so quickly.
Oh, the Brood Lords though. Can the Void Rays get the Brood Lords? That's pretty sick. Chat Ray. No! Don't turn around. There's no need for Prism.
Well,
oh my god.
No,
Not
no,
so quick.
no,
No!
Okay, 2 warders go down to the corruptors, but recall is good. A couple drones go down, but at this point, Scarlett... Well, actually, she might want those drones a little bit longer. I don't know. Is she worried about losing the fight? Hold on, like, we've always been looking at this from Astrea's perspective, but does she think she can lose the fight?
Worried about some storms on top of the corruptors? Who knows?
I guess, yeah. I mean,
this base... These Zealots and Archons are actually becoming a real problem for Scarlett, which I find very surprising because Lurkers, Hydras, and Infestors should be able to take care of it, but yeah, Scarlett's actually pretty broke, isn't she?
Yeah. I mean, what if like all of her Vipers get fed back and then, you know, it's only Corruptors, like then, and no Fungals too for some reason. I guess they're also out of the equation. Like, the Corruptors would lose to the Voiders.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's that.
By the way, it was such a shame that Astrea used Prismatic Alignment there on the Brood Lords. Like, with 23 Void Rays, you don't need to use Prismatic Alignment on 5 exposed Brood Lords. And this right-clicking them would have melted all 5, 6 of them. And looking at Scarlett's bank, that would have actually been a very expensive loss. So, a bit of a shame that Prismatic was activated there.
Mm-hmm. See, a lot slower with those Void Rays. This trade-off, and it wasn't really worth it there. I guess looking from Scarlett's point of view, all that has to happen, which is still a lot, but basically if she loses access to her spellcasters, that is the direct counter to Pure Corruptor. So we haven't really highlighted that, but that is the situation. It's just that it's so unlikely that spellcasters won't be a part of the engagement. It's so unlikely.
Neuroparasite being used on a couple of these. Now the Tempest starts showing up as well. I mean, that Zelnaga Watchtower is actually very nice for Astrea. It's kind of like non-stop revelation.
Oh my god. Oh, you got the shield battery cannon versus the spore crawler forest. Oh boy.
Why are we storming changelings?
Dude, that happens so often this season. I don't know. Like, they can't pick on all of them. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like, can we get like an Archon on the ground to do that instead of wasting energy? Maybe Astrea feels like there is not going to be a game-deciding fight. All right, the new Tempest right now. They're going to shoot beautiful orange balls, I guess.
Yep. Protoss racing their balls.
They're actually pretty good now.
Oh, I don't disbelieve it. I've seen them in action once so far, but now this is the second time, so woo, exciting times. Very, very happy with this.
Scarlett's getting a bigger army. 27 Corruptors at this point, 6 Broodlords, 1 Hydra, 8 more Corruptors on the way though. Astrea's gonna split up his army a little bit. All the Tempests and a couple of Oracles on the left side, while the Chat Rays are going on an adventure towards the bottom right.
Please, please kill that Hydra. No, no, Wings, don't help. Yes. Ready to go, probes.
That Hydra dying to a probes around 40 minutes into the game. All right, Void Rays flying over. A lot of Spore Crawlers are going to use Prismatic Alignment. We're kind of reducing the amount of spores we have on the map. I mean, I say that, we still have 49 Spore Crawlers on the map. But hey, Scarlett is losing a couple of them.
Good recall. That's, how many was on the map now? 46 still on the map?
46. I mean, we have enough Tempest to one-shot them right now, so could we say that this is the final countdown? 45. No, it's gonna go 47. Oh no, now you're gonna lose so many.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wow, good feedbacks.
Yeah, this is actually a sick position if Scarlett actually wants to hold it, but she only has to hold it as long as she wants to keep the top left base. It's gonna mine out eventually.
Astrea's gonna go full Neep on us. It's gonna have 200 supply of
Absolutely. It's absolutely gonna happen. It happened. Oh, what was the first that did that? I think it's Casting a Tear Dragon. Shoot. But anyways, it's happened already this season. Full 200 army supply. Didn't win, by the way, but
was it DNS? DNS against several, right?
Oh, was it that one? It might. No, I think you're right. It might have been that one. I thought maybe it was against Denver, but I think you're right. Against Several. Yep. They don't work though. That was the point. For us to not win the totally maxed out army.
It wasn't even close, was it?
No, not really. So there's that. But I do love this position. The feedbacks are just like really nice to get here. But Scarlett doesn't have to take the fights at that position.
I'm definitely a fan of like the 10 to 12 to 14 Void Ray hit squad. What's happening right now with Observer Speed as well, taking out all the vision, sniping bases, reducing the Spore Crawler count. I think all of this is actually really cool by Astrea. Only thing I'm very worried about is the ultimate fight, especially like Tempest in the ultimate fight as well. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot at Overseers like they always do.
Yeah. No prompting, just want to shoot Overseers. Yeah. I agree with you too. Like, I actually like an okay number of Void Rays. Like 12 Void Rays is a nice amount that can go for hit squads and might not be parasitic bombed, like, you know, to death. So they actually add a decent bit of DPS when the Zerg finally pulls the trigger. But it's just that he made so many more. He made 24. So 24 Void Rays, 10 Tempests, maybe some Archon action, and 9 High Templars to 3 Vipers. I'd actually like Scarlett to get more Vipers instead of all these Infestors.
How many Vipers have we got? Yeah, only 3. No, 100%. Definitely love to see a couple of additional Vipers. Like, Parasitic Bomb is going to, like, if you only have 3 of them, if you abduct like 2 units, then you basically have no energy left. Scarlett should absolutely have like 5, 6, maybe even 7 Vipers here.
That's maybe just an oversight, but she also was making Infestors, so
Yeah.
I mean, she's thinking about spellcasters, but apparently not. Okay. All right.
Oh my goodness, no! 4 DTs turned against each other.
Oh, Astrea making a move to the top left. Finally, something is happening. Lurkers are not going to stand up for very long, but here comes the rest of the army. 3 Vipers is not that intimidating. If Scarlett doesn't realize that that's not enough Vipers, that could be the problem. I mean, Funkles are good. Neural Parasites could happen. Really change the tide of battle, but we're talking so much about parasitic bombs, and it's kind of realistic they won't happen anymore.
I know, and that's crazy. But the High Templar count is still at 8. I absolutely love that position with all the cannons, the batteries, and then the High Templar guarding the Zelnaga Watchtower, because that's always going to give Astrea the vision that he needs to land the feedbacks. Yeah, I mean, the chat race, I really believe in the chat race. If it's just Fungo, I kind of believe in the chat race.
7 more Infestors? That's what she's going to max out with? She doesn't like Vipers very much.
I mean, Fungo is really good against Voids as well, but I think Parasitic Bomb is worse. But the Vipers just kind of getting range. A lot of good feedbacks here as well. Astrea is really making some plays.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Starting to work. Tempest didn't seem like a bad addition. DT's even getting, I mean, they're clearing up bases that are entirely cleared up, but like, I mean, when one of these bases falls, it means the next one might fall, and then eventually you're hitting technology, like I pointed out 20 minutes ago. Double phone glass to be used in these DTs. It's great. Yes, more Vipers.
Yeah, it's about
She
that.
lost one.
It is so crazy that we haven't seen a single parasitic bomb. Not even any of the moments that the Void Rays were flying around and trying to get some damage done. Like, I know the Voids have obviously been trying to get out of it. I'm still getting storms and changelings.
Now, a history lesson for everyone who's new to StarCraft. The reason we have the hour time is that it's actually still in the Heart of the Swarm time for that one. At 44 and a half minutes, something like that, in Legacy of the Void would have been an hour long in old StarCraft 2 time. It used to be different. And it used to be different because it used to be that normal was going to be the regular speed, and then people in Brood War were like, nah, that's child's play. And they put it on faster, and Blizzard was like, we're not going to fix that for StarCraft 2. Not until Legacy of the Void 6 years later. Thanks, Blizzard. Never fixed this, though.
And that's why after 43 or 44 minutes, there's only is a 0 above the minimap.
Yep. Usually I wouldn't even bother telling that story, but you know what else is happening in this game, Roddy?
Changelings getting stormed.
Exactly. Changelings getting stormed. So, history. Yeah.
How many units have died in this game? Taking a look at all the numbers. I mean, I feel like the biggest rip in pepperoni are the 15 carriers that I legitimately feel killed like 5 Hydras. That's about it. They deserve the better ending. 250 Zealots is a beautiful number, I may say so.
That's nice and round. Nice. Oh, it is amazing. Resources lost. Oh, boy. Yeah, this just reminded me back of the good old Swarm Host days. Where are my Swarm Hosts? Where are my auto turrets that lasted like an hour long?
PDDs, auto turrets, yes.
Oh man, I'm actually so much closer to my kitchen now too, so I could actually make pancakes. Come back. And probably not miss any action. When it happened 5 years ago, I had to run all the way downstairs. Come back.
And here's something really funny. I thought I was gonna order some food by the time the broadcast was done today. I mean, with a bit of luck, I might be able to order breakfast.
Yeah, right.
This is game 1, by the way, guys, of our last series of the day. Astrea has thought about it for a while. He's like, what should I build with the last few resources that are available on this map? He's like, you know what? More chat race.
Yep. Clearly that's the way to go. We still only have 4 Vipers. There's still a chance that they'll all feed back.
Yep. Oh no, these units are starting. It actually really hurts to lose units at this point. Because Astrea obviously has nothing to mine anymore. There are basically no resources left on this map. So now when oracles are getting abducted, those are units that are not coming back anymore.
Oh, 2 Vipers being taken out of the equation. He's gonna feed back on a queen. Yeah, instinct there. So still no parasitic bombs, and 2 Vipers? Is she gonna rebuild? She's gonna build 4 Vipers. I'm liking this army just a little bit more.
Alright, couple Broodlords getting picked up. Obviously, the ground army can still have a pretty big impact. Astrea can also reinforce with Zombie Grub. Get ready. 6 Zealots during an epic battle. Imagine nice. 6 Zealots storm in, get on top of the Infestors. Wouldn't that be esports history?
Oh, yeah. That would be. I love how this game is not nearly as epic as our other super long game, TVZ, where so much was happening and it was such a nail biter.
Yeah. And it's funny as well because TVZ up to that point, in my opinion, the Protoss games were better. You know, the Skillless against Hellraiser series was really fun. Geralt against Lambo was spectacular, really action-packed. And then all the TVZ was like, it seems like Protoss became the more fun race. And then this happens after the most epic TVZ on Ever Dream that we've ever seen. I mean, I don't know. Uh-oh, careful with item plus.
Yeah, don't lose all those.
It's gonna get hyped soon though, Zombie Grub, so you better get ready.
It will get hyped for exactly 2 seconds. I am ready. I'm gonna jam-pack that hype. Full of it! Full of it! When it happens. Well, actually, you said you were just gonna cast the Void Race dying, so...
No. I'm going to cry for the Void Race. Now, to be honest, Astrea has done really well. And
yes,
this is definitely going somewhere. If the Vipers go down at this point, Scarlett really can't rebuild many of them anymore. So There is a chance. How many spore crawlers are left on the map? The answer is only 29. Once upon a time, we had 55 spore crawlers, so minus 26. Oh, careful with High Templars. I am afraid, though, if we run out of High Templars, I feel like Astrea is super dead.
Yes, I mean, there's two very important things happening here. It's all based around spellcasters. Do the Vipers get parasitic bombs? Do the High Templars get feedbacks and or storms? Fungals are also included in this, but I mean, fungals are pretty much guaranteed. With the amount of infestors that she has, those are guaranteed to happen. It's 6 Vipers. Probably at least 1 parasitic bomb will actually go off. Probably.
I feel like at this point, Astrea or Scarlett's just looking for a dog. Actually gets one, even though the Viper was dead. What was that? That was like Scorpion out of Mortal Kombat. This is the last thing I'll do.
3 more Vipers. I think Scarlett's got it, man. I think she's got the plan. More Vipers. More.
Who needs parasitic bombs? You can just abduct units one by one until the Protoss has no more money to rebuild anything.
I mean, that's not a terrible plan. It's a safer plan, probably. Yeah. We don't die with feedbacks. They do die to the Tempest, though.
I mean, Scarlett is starting to run a little bit low on buildings. Obviously, at this point, still plenty left, but these Tempest with their orange attacks. Oh no, High Templar got abducted, and that really hurts. That really hurts.
I love the battle between the Viper and the High Templar right now. So this is what it's coming down to. We're down to 6 High Templar, and there's 8 Vipers now. So I'm pretty sure I was doubting it for about 20 minutes, but now at 52 minutes, I'm like, yeah, Scarlett's got this. Scarlett's gonna win the fight. I don't know. Maybe she can like miscontrol or just derp a bunch of spellcasters, but
oh no,
another High Templar bites the dust.
Yep. Yeah, I think Astrea realizes that he's really on the clock at this point and needs to start making some magic happen. I mean, the spore crawler count is dwindling at a rapid pace. Tempest is starting to do pretty well. Scarlett lands another updog. That's 1 more Tempest that goes down. And all of these units that get picked off at this point will no longer come back, as there are no resources left on the map. And Astrea is very, very broke.
Yeah, they both are, but Astrea does seem to be more on the clock. More on the abduct clock. I don't know what to call it. I don't know. And he can't really force the engagement. Not only would he be pushing into a very scary army, but also all the spore crawlers. So, yeah, all he can do is just take out 1 spore crawler at a time, and that's what Blizzard made this upgrade for.
Yep, only 22 are left.
All right, hey man.
21.
They used to be 40.
20 from the total gentleman on Isaac Rome. Yes, it is. 19.
Bruh. It's been a while since we've cast such a slow game. But it is just about clearing up those spore crawlers. Yeah, and some Oracle action. Yeah, revelation.
Hey, Viper went down.
Oh, yeah, that is good. I didn't even see that. The Burrowed Investor is gonna...
No.
Oh,
That's a sick play by Scarlett, but that's really sad for Astrea. And here we go. That's the cue for Scarlett. Fungal, parasitic bomb. Goodbye, Void Rays. Hello, Scarlett. Even though that's a lot of prismatic alignment, but spellcasters are
the
amazing.
Oh, the Archons also being neural to help take out those Void Rays is also pretty sick. And then the showmanship at the end. Just parasitic, neural parasite everything. That is it. That is it. That is it. Astrea.
Can I wipe out 3 stalkers? There's a High Templar left. There's a Zealot.
1 BT. Astrea, please. What are you doing?
I think Astrea knows. Just hoping that maybe Scarlett has nothing to kill everything.
All 3 units. Man, Astrea does not want to let go of this game. It is the first game in the series. Let it go. Let it go.
The High Templar might get abducted. Nope, Lance's feedback. Lance's second feedback. This High Templar deserves his own movie. It's like, how did the fight go, guys? It's like, guys? I don't hear back anymore, but the Zerg army is still there.
Imagine if Astrea, imagine if he had 1,000 minerals and he actually did just warp an entire ground army. I mean, it's almost impossible for him to get detection on the lurkers, but avoid the lurkers? Question mark? I don't know.
If we look at what's left, it's 2 Lurkers, 1 Broodlord, and 4 Vipers. I think like 15 Stalkers would be enough.
Yeah, 15 of them, yeah. You'd, you know, plan that.
I think that's it. Astrea is right now pressing F2. He's like, do I have something? A DT. There is 1 DT. And the Zelnag Whites are at the bottom. Now we are familiar. Does Astrea think that Scarlett has like no range to kill the buildings or something? Like there's Lurkers and there are Broodlords.
I don't know. I mean, am I missing something? You can't build anything?
No,
Why is he not building
you're not missing anything. I think Astrea is just wondering if Scarlett can actually take out all his static defenses. The answer is yes. Scarlett is like, what are we doing?
I also question that. You really want to make her kill all your buildings?
Man, what if Astrea just went to eat a pizza right now? And he's like, you know what? You made me tired. I'm going to make you more tired. I'm going to get, well, I'm going to get hydrated. I'm going to make sure that I've got a full belly for the rest of this best of 5. And good luck killing my static defenses.
I really don't know what Astrea
What's the APM? Wait, Astrea's got 190 APM. How? I want to know. What is he doing?
I don't know, but now it's less. I mean,
Taking a look at
don't
Astrea's
know.
vision. He's controlling observers.
What is
He's got a pro. He's warping in 2 Stalkers.
Oh, finally. Finally. He makes
And
it
a
a
High
decision.
Templar. It's going to be the unit of choice.
He wants to make it an hour. Just like a nice round number, all right? When it hits an hour, Astrea will GG. Calling it.
To be honest, it's hard to kill those 2 Stalkers if they're near shield barriers, right?
Yeah, but
Do we
Yeah.
have queens? Yeah, 2 queens. I mean, I actually understand what Astrea is trying to do. It's just like, how close is this? The thing is, we know it's not very close. Stalkers are going to get abducted. The Dark Templar will get picked off as well. And well, Scarlett is not paying attention because the Overseer is just going down. That's a bit sloppy. But there are 7 left, so who cares?
what's happened there?
Tried to abduct the Stalker that blinked away.
I did not pin Astrea as this much of a a go-getter. I can't stay in a game like this. And yet here we are. I cannot explain what he thinks is going to happen, so I must conclude that he is just frustrated and does not want to leave this game.
He's trying to make magic happen. Maybe a bit frustrated that Scarlett was never attacking, and he felt that, you know, even though they both had a lot of static defenses, he was the one forced to attack into the static defenses. Otherwise, something was never going to happen. The High Templar does get abducted, lands some feedback on the Infestor, but it is a little bit too late. And Astrea is now down to 3 units, 2 observers, and 1 foot.
I thought maybe he was going to try and like take out the main base and the natural of a Scarlet, but you know, obviously the problem is still the Spore Crawlers, but I thought at least that would happen. And that hasn't even happened, so
I love that Scarlett is now spreading creep on the bottom side of the map as well. Like
just kind of better to do.
Yeah.
Okay. What? At 59 minutes and 11 seconds? Come on, Astrea.
He's like, you're still spreading creep? Oh my goodness, I thought I killed all the active troops at once. GG gets called. Scarlett wins a pretty epic, but obviously from time to time rather boring game 1, but it lasted 59 minutes. It is now 30 minutes past 2 a.m. in the Netherlands. Oh, Zombie Grub, where do we start?
I don't wanna relive that game. I wanna get to the next game, but they're not gonna get in that fast, are they? Oh, Astrea's gonna need a chill pill. And yeah. Next map is Death Aura. So that's great. That's probably another 30 minutes right there. See,
Yeah, I mean, lots of gas on this map, so that means even more spellcasters, vipers, infestors. I gotta say, obviously we were asking for Parasitic Bomb for a long time. Scarlett's like, well, I don't actually want to fight, so why would I drop a Parasitic Bomb if I don't want to fight? I'm just gonna pick up units 1 by 1. It is pretty insane though, that after like 55 minutes and they finally do fight, it's actually quite close, right? Because Scarlett really didn't have a lot left. It makes you wonder, what if Astrea did have 3k in the bank? What if he could wipe in 15 Stalkers there? Like, that would have actually been enough.
Well, if he had that much bank, then we'd have to kind of, you know, say that she would also have that much bank. way the game went. They were pretty even
Yeah,
on
I
that.
guess
in the end.
eventually.
So
Dark Templars and Zealots. I don't know. It's just the carriers. The carriers didn't do anything. They didn't even get a fair shake in that game. He never used them. Just let them hover around, get abducted. It hurts.
it did hurt. That was a painful game to watch. And then not only for that game to be that way for so long, and then another like 2 minutes of just like undeniable game over being lingered on, like I gotta imagine Astrea's mentality is not that great. And I haven't really worried about his mentality in a lot of games, but I've also never seen him do that. It's actually kind of alarming.
You know what? I'm not worried. Game 2, 8 gate, +1, or 5 gate resonating laser depths. And we're back even.
Cannon rush. Just cannon rush it. Nah, he won't do that.
Anyway, guys, you are still watching the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters fall. These are the playoffs of North America. We already had one best of 5, which Neve was able to win in a pretty dominant manner, 3-0 over Nina. And this is officially our last series of the day. We had 4 best of 5s before this in Europe. Honestly, pretty fun ones. Maybe Marino against Vanya was a bit one-sided, but Lambo Gerald was awesome. Skillers against Hellraiser was awesome. And then Euthermo against Stefano was ridiculous.
Yeah. Still the highlight of the entire day. And while, yeah, Nina versus Neve was fun, we're now, I guess, almost concluded. I say that, but I'm also very scared. We're going to have 4 more games that all look pretty identical to that. Oh, good. Astrea is ready to go as Scarlett has hopped into the lobby. We are moving into Death Aura. Let's see how this game goes. Astrea, we can't forget 40 minutes ago. All right? He was leading. He was winning that game against Scarlett. He was everywhere. He was in the main base. He was over the lurkers. He was winning. And then Scarlett turtled just very, very well. So now it's easy to forget. It was a while ago. Astrea was winning.
Yeah, when the Zealots were going ham in the main base. I almost forgot about that part of the game. Yeah, Scarlett was nowhere near maxed out. No money in the bank and 35 ropes, right? Oh. How did we get where we ended? Anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we have loaded into Death Aura. And we're looking at the main base of the American Protoss player, I believe from San Diego, spawning as the spawning in the red. It is Astrea.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, we have Scarlett. Terrified, Roddy. I was really on board this series, but it's not even it's a long game. It's 8:30. It's late, but it's not that late. Like I am fine with a long game that has a lot of back and forth, which I think they can give us. But I'm not really sure anyone wants to see that type of game again. Just about 30 minutes of, just summing up the inevitability that ended up it happened. It was a little bit closer than we anticipated, but still, it did happen. It was just 30 minutes of us guessing when it would happen. So I don't think many people want that.
Overlords can spray now?
Wait, what?
Can Overlords spray?
Did that just happen?
No, wait, it's a probe. Okay, there was a
Yeah,
delay on
over
this.
and by.
Yeah. I was like, what? Okay. Okay. No, I'm obviously with you. I like long games, and I've been really enjoying a lot of the 25-minute games we've had, where we've had a lot of comebacks as well. I mean, in all kinds of matchups in TVZ, but also in PvP. Crazy disruptive play. But yeah, the last game, it felt hopeless. The thing is, like, we looked at 2 armies that were both very big, but one army was clearly meant to counter the other army. And the player that was having the army that was going to get countered did not have money in the bank to remax. So we're like, well, we are waiting for the inevitable. And I have to admit, for 0.1 second in that fight, I believed. When I saw all the chat race, prismatic alignment, I was like,
Whoa! The Overlord did spray!
yeah, see, I'm not crazy. Overlord
You're
is
not
spraying.
crazy! Oh my gosh, it does a little poot. It sprays.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen this before. The NA spray meta truly is going crazy. That must be new. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it is new. I'm sorry, I interrupted your point. I kind of forgot.
I mean, the point was that Void Rays suck. No, Void Rays are pretty good. I loved a lot about the Void Rays. The thing is, it can't be only Void Rays to win the game. They just don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's he talked a lot about that for sure. Just the only Void Ray thing was questionable. Yes, we've seen plenty of like mass carrier games lose as well, but it seems to be a little bit tighter, a little more, I don't know, potential when you set up that type of army. I mean, even actually out of the Tempest, which started to really the reason we even got as close as it did is that the Tempest started to push Scarlett in. But anyways, Astrea is going to, if it is going to go to a game like that again, gonna have to try a different composition. And I would say he avoids that type of situation almost at all costs, to the point of being a little too overeager to end the game.
Can we talk about that wall-off? Is that the ugliest wall-off we have ever seen in DreamHack?
I'm pretty sure I've done worse, but it's not great. In DreamHack,
the amount of surface area, that gateway can almost get surrounded by Zerglings.
I do wonder why that goes there.
Alright, we do have a Void Ray to kick things off with. a great defensive unit for a strong late game.
Well, that should be the only Void Ray. A quick robo follow-up. And Scarlett is trying to get that scout and what's actually going on. Seeing the amount of adepts is nice, actually. Maybe they'll go across the map. I think they will. Yeah. And well, Scarlett's not going to do anything, apparently.
It's so hard to, after a 58-minute game of maxed out armies, spellcasters, and all the things we just talked about, it's like the adepts are moving out and they could potentially get one drone. And normally one drone is a really big deal, but we just saw two 198 army supply armies duke it out with each other. And it's like, well, oh, Scarlett's making a lot of links.
It is a lot of links. I mean, she saw the adepts. I actually don't think she even saw them move out. So this is just, you know, killing a third base squad with links. So she should send them across the map. But Void Ray can't be killed by the lings, but also won't kill the lings that quickly. But also with the adepts and the sentries, maybe it won't work. Maybe she shouldn't do it. But now she just has 22 lings that aren't really necessary. Oh well.
Yeah. I mean, the adepts was scary. Maybe for a split second, Scarlett got worried that there were more adepts and there was some resonating glaives or something as well. But we know that's not the case. No, these links are definitely too late to cancel that Nexus. There is no way that that's ever going to happen with the adepts at home. The Oracle flying into 3 queens will somehow survive. Drops a revelation, takes more damage, but it's still alive.
Well, at least it's still alive. Season Lair, Roachhorn, and even the Evolution Chamber all weekly. Astrea has got a decent amount of gateways finishing up and didn't add on any more technology. No Twilight Council, no Forge, but he's getting a Warp Prism, so getting a bit of a faster, a bit more basic attack as well, with a good number of sentries and a single immortal. Scarlett might not be prepared for this. I don't think she's actually got a sight on it.
Yep. Scarlett already at 62 drones and building 6 more. But right when we got a bit excited, Astrea is actually going back into pro production. So I don't know how committed Astrea is really going to be. Maybe it's just one of these pushes where like, all right, we're going to test the waters, push back the creep a little bit, and then we'll see if we can actually take a fight. Scarlett is supply blocked as well after losing that Overseer in the main base. Like, this could have been really devastating if Astrea just goes through it. Goes all the way in, and he's actually still stepping on creep. Scouts the army right now, and he's like, is that it? Ravage is not even done yet. 6 Ravages are morphing. I kind of like this attack.
I think it's going to go fairly well. A couple force fields could really change things up. Yes, Ravage is repaired, but still, that moment spot by a force field can be big. Warp Prism's definitely still alive, and Astrea is still committing to this. Sees an opportunity, but is it really there? Scarlett should have 10 more roaches on the way soon. Ravager's getting sliced and diced off, though, and this is suddenly really looking good for Astrea.
It's a shame we don't have Blink, otherwise we could really get on top of these Ravages, but Astrea still just going for it. Going in so deep, and a couple of the Ravages did go down. The Warp Prism is a bit far away right now. We don't want to end up losing the Immortal. The Immortal is so important here, and it does go down, and now it's just Gateway units without Blink. And I don't really know if I want to see Astrea stick around much longer.
He's going to start Blink microing with the Warp Prism, and that's not going to go too poorly. But +1 just finished up for Scarlett's army. She's building 10 more roaches. Clearly, Astrea is going to have to leave. And then the biggest thing here is not that the arm supply is down. It's that the Immortal was lost and not rebuilt. No robo production. And there's something else. There's no Twilight Council and no Forge. So was that enough damage to actually go into a macro game? Scarlett's got a 4th up and can build 11 more drones. into a station pit. It got scary for a second there, but now it just feels very good for Scarlett.
Yeah, it feels super good for Scarlett because obviously the Hydra Dam was done already. Scarlett's gonna go up to 4 bases. And what can Astrea realistically do in the next minute in this game to get economic damage done? I guess Warp Prism in the main 2 adapts. Like that's it. Or Warp Prism somewhere, Oracle or rest, but it's going to be so incredibly hard for Scarlett or for Astrea to actually keep up with everything that Scarlett can do here. Oh, it felt that if that Immortal didn't go down, if that Warp Prism would have just joined that army when it was running up the ramp, and then it would have sieged there, then I feel like it becomes really hard, because then for Scarlett, it becomes even harder to fight that army, because units are coming in from the right and the left, but not in overwhelming numbers to really sandwich it, right? So, what a shame.
A little bit of a shame, yeah. Astrea is going to be trying to claw his way back into a mid game as Scarlett goes into a late game. That doesn't feel so good, but at least not going to die soon. Astrea could maybe get to a decent composition, decent supply, and start to work a bit of multitasking magic. Hallucination's going to get some good scouting done, see that the hive is on the way, and no doubt think about those lurkers again. Astrea, yeah, he really is coming back from a pretty poor scenario. Building up his immortals, Blink nowhere near finished, and a Warp Prism that's not finding a whole lot.
I do think this would be a good moment to add that second robotics facility. I would have actually liked to see that a while ago. I know it's obviously hard to get a Twilight Council, a Forge, a second robo, and a Robo Bay, but with a single robo, I feel like your army eventually is just going to be a bit too one-dimensional, and you're going to be a bit too heavy on the gateway units. When I say that more sentries, more stalkers being wiped in, Lilba would be very proud, but I don't know if it works against lurkers.
We'll find out. He's trying to hit still a pretty typical timing, which is that +1 in Blink, but with an army that's not quite as good, it feels. Well, against an army that's better, I guess is a better way to put it. Scarlett's lurker number is pretty high. Don't have that speed burrow, so they're not immediately threatening, but yeah, Astrea's like, can I take on those? No. Can I run back? Maybe no. I don't know how he's going to take this engagement.
Run through the acceleration zone and get on top of the army. It's like a launch pad. Yeah, I feel like this base is super dead, and I think Astrea knows that as well. He's going to try to get a couple of pickups from the bottom. Lands a couple force fields, a couple roaches go down. Storm is on the way, but only just started. And what's the Templar count at? It's 0, basically. Just warped in a couple of them. Scarlett really doesn't have to go back here, by the way.
No, she does not. These lurkers are only going to get stronger, too, with their upgrades finishing. So she's going to continue to patrol around the ramp. At the very least, Astrea has gotten down a ramp. A little more level playing field, but not really a strong answer to the lurkers. Not a strong army supply. 80 workers, but now it's not even mining accurately. This might be the healing blow. A couple force fields, I guess, will always stop the Zerg army from approaching up that ramp. What about your 4th? Your new 3rd's about to go down, too.
There are so many probes, by the way, in that base. If a lurker gets in range of that mineral line, it's going to be a probe massacre. Storm is still not done. Astrea is kind of just falling apart. He's been supply blocked for quite some time, building 4 pylons at once now, but he's sitting at 2,300 minerals. And that is just a little bit too much when the maxed out Scarlett is knocking on your front door.
A couple of good storms, getting some juicy shots on the Hydras, but even more lurkers kind of lagging behind come forward. More reinforcements. The Scarlett doesn't have to worry about anything. The Warp Prism was taken out, and Astrea could not afford one because of the supply block and isn't really prioritizing one either. But Astrea is not willing to give up quite yet. I mean, last game it didn't give up. This game's not going to give up, but it is still the same result. GG. Scarlett with the 2-0. In a bit of a faster game. I love Astrea's plan to do something earlier. Maybe if he had just pulled the trigger, it would have worked, but still not able to take down Scarlett. And that doesn't bode well for Astrea's momentum. Guys, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, it could be the final map of the series. Welcome back. It is game number 3 on Everdream for Astrea versus Scarlett, and things aren't looking so hot for Astrea. Super, super long game that did go in his favor, and then a bit of a shorter one where his attack did not work out. I feel like he's got to try another maybe aggressive maneuver, at least to try and get him a nice lead here. But, I mean, I'm afraid for his mentality.
Yeah, I don't want to make up a story that might not be there, because obviously I can't look into Astrea's mind, but it did feel that that first game is kind of one of these games that just decides the entire series, right? Like if Astrea wins that, there's a good chance that he walks away with the rest of it, and then Scarlett is a bit frustrated. But since it went Scarlett's way, it felt that second game, at least the attack was proper, and it got a little close. But afterwards, it did really feel that Astrea was already mentally broken, being that supply block, floating 2400 minerals. That's something that this man normally doesn't do. In the top right side of Everdream, he is spawning as the red Protoss player. It is Astrea.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, she is Scarlett.
Zombie Grub, I've got a question for you.
What's up?
Last season, when Scarlett and Astrea played against each other, Scarlett already had the clan tech adapted, and Astrea just made a bunch of adapt builds. I remember him saying that he normally doesn't do them, but he knows that Scarlett really hates them and is not particularly great against them, so he felt that it was a good way to do it and potentially get a victory. Why haven't we seen a single adapt opening yet?
Doesn't feel confident. I don't know. If we're gonna see it, I hope it's here on Everdream for his last life too. It might be very, very obvious, but we talked about this 7 hours ago in the front of the broadcast. Like, their power necessarily isn't about doing direct damage and a lot of direct damage, but rather how they put the Zerg's position and what you can do beyond that. So I would like to see that. It gives you a bit of more control without the dedication that we saw from last game, where it really was just all about the attack. Very, very, very delayed technology. I'm hoping for it. Really paying attention to the warp gate timing.
I really feel that the adapt build is just always good. Like, for instance, when I see mana on this map, I feel like almost every Zerg knows that there's a very, very, very good chance he's going to open up with adapts. They see it's like, all right, it is going to be adapts. And then they're still scrambling in the defense. And most of the time they fall short. Overlords are still spraying around. I'm glad that I wasn't hallucinating in the beginning of the last game. And Overlords can apparently spray. But yeah, like, why the hell not? It's just one of these builds that I feel is always good. And I rarely see Protoss being very far behind after the adapt opening. Like, if they are good with adapts, I feel worst case scenario, it's kind of even. And the game stabilizes and goes from there. But when do you ever see like 12 adapts go down and not get any drones and Protoss just loses, right? That doesn't happen.
It's been a while since I've seen a complete shutdown and like loss because of the adepts, like themselves, not just like other X factors. There are things that can happen, right? If they dedicate a lot to the adepts and they, you get 20 adepts, for instance, and they do get trapped, okay, that's not great because an immediate counterattack probably kills you. You don't feel safe going for your own third, so you inadvertently also just like get stuck on 2 bases while they're finally clearing you up. That could be bad. But I agree with you, and I'm glad to see that a Twilight Council is on the way. Robo coming down too. Scarlett has that Overlord in position to check, not necessarily for Resident Glaives or not. She's gonna figure that out. But also if it's for a Dark Shrine or any other various follow-ups that can occur. She should be able to scout it anyways. She's going there. She's on the warpath. Come on. No? Okay.
As Maynard would say, that Overlord is chilling near Mount Serral right now.
It's like a very questionable not scout. I mean, she also didn't see the warp gate, or maybe she just did actually, the warp gate being not delayed. But, all right, now she's going to see the Twilight Council and the lacking probes and the gas. There you go.
All right, so are we going to see that Spine Crawler go down near the third base, like we know a lot of Zerg players like to do? Are we going to see a big swell of Zerglings at first to deal with that first wave of adapts, and then the Roaches as the follow-up? All of that does seem to be the case. We do know there is no Dark Shrine as a follow-up yet. So it's just going to be the traditional adapt opening for now, and maybe Astrea is going to try to go up to 3 bases quickly behind that. We followed up with an Immortal or something as well. All of these things are possible. This is something we've seen many, many times, but like I said, I rarely see this go terribly wrong for Protoss.
Hope Astrea doesn't make a mistake with his use of Adepts. That's pretty much what makes it go terribly wrong, is that if you don't cancel the shade and you're fully surrounded, that you meant to. That's when things can definitely go wrong. But already so far so good. Scarlett has to respond to this, has to take it very seriously. So a lot of things have already been made. She already has to cut her workers at 40, 39 even, if she builds more stack defense. And they have to take the threat of DT seriously, no matter how much you think they're not going to do it. So sport crawlers are somewhat necessary. Adepts actually do shade into the natural, seeing an opportunity as the Lings were elsewhere. And immediately shade out, already getting 10 drones, and many of them will live.
Yep, a lot of Adepts are going to get out, so maybe a few more drones can go down near the third base. Well, there are no drones here, but as War Prism is still lurking around the main base as well. Scarlett is now already going back into droning, but I think there's a good chance. I like the fact that the Spore Crawler got brought forward to keep that War Prism at bay. I mean, this wasn't that bad, right? Like, if this is the worst case scenario, I'll take it any day of the week. Astrea is up in workers, obviously down a base, but there is already an Immortal Link build as the follow-up.
I believe he's going to go into the follow-up 2-base attack, but I am kind of thinking about the 3rd base as well. Soon. Depths in the natural, focus firing well, going to get maybe 5-6 drones.
That's awesome.
5. Still pretty good.
Yep, there are still 0 drones near this 3rd base. I actually love the way that Astrea did that. Pretended he was going to shade all of the Adepts into the main base, then actually split off 2 Adepts into the natural, canceled all the Adepts that were going into the main, and let the ones in the natural finish up with 6 more drones. I mean, this is looking pretty damn good if you ask me. Astrea is going up to 3 bases at this point, still up 7 workers, and obviously Scarlett, her lair is not even done yet.
Right. There's a lot of things that have to be delayed, and the idea is that hopefully you take pretty much no damage. You constantly make them cancel their shade, so you stall out your own production, your technology, your economy, but in favor of not taking any more damage than necessary. And well, it's already kind of happened. There's a total of 21 and a little bit more, 22 with the stalkers here. Drones killed, as Astrea also still feeling confident on his side of the map. He still has the Adepts alive, still has the War Prism alive. Lots of things that Scarlett has to stay back at home to deal with and can't just initiate a counter. And even if she did, and Immortal's already out with a shield battery.
Yep. This is going really well for Astrea at this point. 26 drones have gone down, 32 Zerglings as well. And the only thing that Astrea has really lost is a bunch of Adepts, and that's kind of what they're supposed to do. So we're banking up the Immortal count. Protoss still economically ahead in this game. It seems like there is still fighting spirit left in our Protoss. More Adepts finding more drone damage right now at the 3rd base as well. Scarlett really hates going up against this build, so I mean, this could be a double victory for Astrea, the mental victories.
I think so. I love that he finally chose to do it, and Everdream certainly made a lot of sense to show it, but it does work on other maps too. And it's definitely paid off. So lots of Immortals, really well protected. There's the threat of the Spire that can exist, but we know there's not a Spire, and Astrea has done like a decent job getting his shades actually back into the main, natural, and 3rd. So it's like pretty likely he also would be comfortable not worrying about the Spire. And yeah, Scarlett couldn't really afford it anyways. It'd be a bit of a risk for her to take. A couple Overlords ain't bad either.
I know. Not something we see very often, but the Stalkers is finding random Overlords here. Both of them are going to go down. You know what I just thought of? Is Wardy still okay? Is he still with us? I feel like I haven't spoken to Wardy in forever.
You're right about that. It's been an hour and a half. Yeah, the start of the attack doesn't go so well as 1 sentry is picked off. Astrea did have to buddy up with the War Prism to really start the engagement. Scarlett did a good job not being supply blocked despite losing the Overlords, and did recover kind of in the nick of time to produce an army to combat Astrea. Astrea was hoping to find her either teching too hard or still rebuilding the economy. And yeah, didn't find that. Ravagers are also there, so Astrea's not going to push the issue and head into those Colossus, which means that Scarlett might have time to get to those ever so deadly lurkers.
You think this is always Colossus, or do you think there is a chance that Astrea might open up with Disruptors here?
Even before the Colossus were popular, I always thought that Astrea liked Colossus and odd amount for Protoss players in Legacy of the Void 2-3 years ago. They just were like, at one point Legacy of the Void, they just weren't used at all. So I always think Colossus with Astrea.
Alright, well, we're about to find out if it's going to be indeed a Colossus or if we're going to see some Disruptors on the way. There is Thermal Lens, so it is indeed going to be Disruptors. I like the fact that Astrea is using 2 Immortals now as well to pick up a couple of these Creep Tumors. I mean, Astrea is playing a really fine game.
Yeah, absolutely. Scarlett's just choosing to max out right now on roaches, get up her economy well and nice. Yeah, it's going to be 74 drones on 4 bases. That's really good, but she is just sticking on Roach Ravager with +2 on the way. You know, Hydralisk Den or Lurker Den or Station Fit. She's going to try and bust Astrea down, but I feel like that's actually a situation that Astrea would even prefer. To come at me with your plain old Roach Ravager.
5 Immortals, a War Prism, and a whole bunch of Sentries. I mean, obviously, Ravages are always annoying. Oh my goodness, we've got 20 Ravages on the map. I mean, this is going to be a never-ending amount of Corrosive Balls. The first set of Force Fields is excellent, though. A lot of these roaches get trapped immediately. All Immortals still going strong. And I feel Scarlett already lost a whole bunch of units before this attack really has properly started.
Yeah. Not preempting the Force Fields well enough to save roaches, so now she's pretty much just down to those Ravagers. I didn't think the attack would work, and it certainly didn't start off very well, and then she's actually just committing to it. Still no technology. Astrea gets ever closer to maxing out himself with a superior army, too, so I don't know if Scarlett's just hoping that she'll find him out of position.
Hoping that the Corrosive Balls just obliterate half of the army, but obviously with Blink finishing up as well, that's just a little bit unlikely. The roach count isn't even that high anymore, so the Stalkers don't even have to worry that much. I feel Astrea almost has reached the point where you could go for a forward Blink. The forward Nexus is taking a lot of damage and will go down, but there is a War Prism in the main base now as well. That's going to warp in a couple of Adepts. These Adepts, of course, still have Corrosive or Resonating Glaives. This Corrosive Ball does connect with one of the Disruptors, but this is just a fight that Scarlett cannot possibly win, and I think she knows that.
Yeah, you know, initially I didn't mind the focus fire on the Disruptors, but then actually continue the engagement, I don't know, underestimating the army, or I don't actually know, because she was reinforcing. She was getting Infestation Pit. She was getting a 5th base. Like, there were signs that she was planning on the rest of the game, not just going, oh, I guess I didn't win and throwing it away, but she definitely just threw away the army that could have bought her some more time. And now it's going to maybe be an easy push for Astrea. So all those Immortals left over. No Force Fields, but does he need them? Doesn't seem like it. All right, 1 Force Field, maybe 2.
Yeah, just 1. Look at these Immortals going strong. GG gets called, and the Resonating Glaive build strikes again. Astrea gets a point on the board. Of course, Everdream is potentially or arguably the best map for this build. But hey, why not do it again? He had a lot of success with it last season. Scarlett clearly doesn't like the build very much because she's in the Battle.net team called Adapted. Then you may as well keep adapting her. What's wrong with it?
I think so, but I don't know. I haven't seen the next map, or I've forgotten it, whatever one happened. Depending on what the next map is, she could just try and hit
Golden
first.
Wall.
Oh. Yeah, maybe she just tries to hit first. I mean, I am with you. I think Astrea's got to be with you as well a little bit. Kind of no matter what map it is, just like, oh, the depth thing worked. But Scarlett isn't one to just take a beating from Adepts or Protoss in general. She'll always, even if she does eventually get 3-0'd or whatever happens, she almost always has a way of striking back and doing something like an early pull or a proxy hatch or a gold base taken. Like, she's definitely an adaptive Zerg player. So I'm excited to see Golden Wall. I'm also excited to see Astrea not get 3-0'd. I was really worried about his mentality. Those Adepts, man. They're cheerleaders as well. Back in.
Golden Wall is the kind of map, though, where I can see Scarlett do a very crazy build. Maybe especially because he's a bit pissed off about that previous game. Could be 12 pool, could be some weird link flood, could be a Nidus, could be trying to mine out the backdoor minerals for all I care. I think Astrea in general is pretty good against that kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden, we'd be all tied up. So I think the best thing that Scarlett could do is just play a normal defensive game. But knowing Scarlett, I don't know if that's what we can expect here.
That's the thing, yeah. It's just it's Scarlett, it's not Cyril, right? Who probably depended on just playing a macro game and fixing whatever mistake he did end up making. So now Scarlett's I mean, she still got that one game to kind of like try and be super cutthroat and super just like, okay, no, you're not gonna be able to do anything to me. Proxy hatch again, early pools. Even to get a bit of a lead as well. It's not necessarily all ins. That's up to her, and Astrea should be very aware of the possibility. Do you think there's any possibility that Astrea actually doesn't do Adepts and does instead do like fast carriers on Golden Wall?
Well, this is actually a pretty good map for it, and I like a lot of the fast carrier builds on this map. You know what's my personal favorite? Actually, I mean, we're not going to see this, so it doesn't really matter. But whenever Zerg plays like the gold base, in the past, I was always like a bit worried. I was like, oh no, they've got the gold, you know, and it's so hard to do something about it. And then you want to like rush it with zealots or something, but they obviously expect that, so they've got a whole bunch of queens there. I actually love rushing out one Tempest, because the Tempest one-shots drones, and having just one Tempest behind the other side of the gold mineral line, oh, that's so fun. I've been having such a good time with that build. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think there's a chance that Astrea goes air, but if he does go air, I want to see him prioritize the air upgrades, which he did a decent job in on Ice and Grom, but I don't think it was his #1 priority. But then, while you're having that upgrade, even if it's just a 1 air upgrade advantage, I mean, if you have 2, it's amazing, but just 1, go for it. Fight with the carriers. Don't just let them sit there and wait until the Viper count gets high or the Corruptors get armor upgrades. No, carriers are awesome as soon as you attack with them, but the longer you wait and the more Zerg can catch up, the better the answer of Zerg plays is going to be against carriers.
I agree with that assessment. I think that it's going to be a bit of a struggle between Astrea maybe wanting to mix things up and, you know, seeing its golden wall and then having flashbacks to the first game. That's obviously starting with carriers would inevitably lead to if you don't win the game. So, I mean, as soon as I mention I'm having flashbacks and I'm like, maybe not, but just because it would be something very different doesn't mean he necessarily has to do it. Let's get into golden walls. Astrea needed a minute to grab some water. He's good to go now. And it is game number 4 in the bottom left. As the red Protoss player for Alpha X, he is Astrea.
And in the bottom right side of Golden Wall, we look at the main base of the Canadian Zerg. She is still up 2-1. It is Scarlett. I just noticed something, bro. That Neat is still hanging out in our Discord.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's like, you guys want another interview? I can talk about these games too. Alex, the show's been long enough.
You know, I would love for him to tag in. I'm totally fine.
Uh-oh. Trade-off.
Oh
my goodness.
No.
Always the admin, isn't it? It is always the admin.
It is, yeah.
I wonder, how many years does this man
Cat
need
guys.
to be a referee? Oh my goodness.
Welcome.
I thought you had a black cat. Now it's white.
I have a white cat and a black cat.
That's crazy.
I know. He's done. Yeah. Just gonna wait for this to actually lag out completely. So that is at the beginning of the game. It's probably the best case scenario. Nothing much has been happening. And we'll just say goodbye to the admin. We don't even need him. See ya.
I mean, I don't have cats, but I've got a probe.
Probe's pretty cute.
I also have a panda. I don't even know why I have a panda, but I found a panda and I was like, DreamHack wants toys, I'm gonna panda. I think I bought it in China many years ago.
Well, that makes sense. Where else are you gonna get a panda souvenir?
In Chengdu, they've got all the pandas. All right, we're ready to talk about StarCraft again. As you guys can see, it's been a very long day for us, but we're ready to wrap this one up. Let's go ahead and hop back into Golden Wall. As probe scouting is happening. It's a pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal. Doesn't get the block on the hatchery. Is
Not
this
even
catastrophic?
Close. Not even close. I went through 2 monsters this broadcast. That's a lot of monsters.
I wish I had one. I didn't buy any. Because I'm actually gonna be staying up for the rest of the night anyways. I'm gonna be in your position. Because I got the D&Ds. Gotta do the Dungeons and the Dragons, Roddy. Long
Sounds
days.
really fun.
It is pretty fun. Everyone's about to die, so yeah, probably be short.
I have no idea how any of that stuff even works. You guys make up stories or like what is it?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you want to play it, but there's like different systems, right? So D&D is a system, but everyone just calls all of it D&D. And you can make up your own stories, or you can follow like a preset, you know, or you can add a story onto the preset. Kind of gives you the like layout, but you figure out, you know, what the world entails and how much magic is involved. I don't know. It's all pretty much just like improv. That's the word. It's all like improv. It's a lot of fun. Got a good group, of course. And it's always a funny guy.
So can you be like very mean in the stories and then you're like, oh,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
worry, it's just a story.
I mean, literally, what happened last week was that one of our characters decided to play in character, and so she moved someone out of the way, even as the party yelled at her not to do it because it would ruin their fight. She still did it because that's what her character would do, and because she did that, they lost the fight and are probably gonna die. It's like literally the case right now. So, yeah, you can play whatever you want. That's what the alignments are for. I always forget that you don't play many other games, you know, because it's not even like, oh, you're not playing D&D. That makes sense. Like, a lot of people don't play it. But, you know, we're talking like kind of like being the basis for a lot of RPGs of like the 90s era, especially. Like Baldur's Gate is pretty much just like the entire character setup. It's based off of D&D, but you didn't really play very much.
No, I have never played Baldur's Gate.
Oh, well,
I mean,
that's okay.
I did play Warcraft a lot.
Well, it's not at all based on D&D, so.
All right. So we had a Twilight console, and for a split second I was like, are we going to get some adepts? But I didn't really keep a close eye on how much gas has been mined in the main base, and it seems like we're going to get a very quick Dark Shrine coming out of Astrea instead. Scarlett, on the other end, did Scarlett properly scout? I feel like Scarlett hasn't seen that much, and is making a lot of Zerglings right now, which feels a tad random to me.
Once again, just an anti.
Oh,
Well,
mining out back door. Is Scarlett gonna make an extractor on the other side of the map and then also mine out the minerals?
that was a long process, so I should have started a little bit sooner. Yeah, these lings might have once again been just like, in case of adepts, press the ling button, and there are some adepts going across the map, and a lot more importantly, there's already a Dark Shrine. This isn't Resident Glades into Dark Shrine. Scarlet's Spore Crawler timing
Scarlett
is
is
not
misreading
going
this.
to be accurate.
Yeah, Scarlett is really misreading this, but maybe her Zergling counterattack can buy some time, and if the Zerglings get in there, then obviously, that's not a wall off yet. Oh, Astrea needs, no, that's still not a wall off. The Zerglings are gonna get in, right? No, not yet.
It's barely not.
Good enough, but now all the adepts come in. Okay, and now at this point, Scarlett bought enough time for himself. But a DT has already been walked into the main base. This one Dark Templar is going to do quite a bit of damage. No, not the Zerglings. Not the drones.
Scarlett did just buy enough time. A second Spore Crawler on the way. Third one as well.
Can we kill the main?
Being produced.
Yeah, let's go. Astrea, just go for the main. Wait, what? No! There was a Spore
Lost it.
Crawler on the low ground. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that's where the backup Spore Crawler is being put too. Like, so she could move it to the main, and now the main is no longer as vulnerable.
Yeah, but I feel like still that Dark Templar did not have to die on the high ground.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But this is a last second hold, but it is a hold. I mean, she even moved a lot of her mining onto the third base, so it's not like it's been interrupted that much. Spawning pool might go down, and that's a chunk of change, yeah, but it's not really what Astrea was hoping for. It's certainly not what he could have gotten. I mean, imagine if he had been just a little bit faster on the warp in and also the focus fire hitting on top of the hatchery.
This still feels a little bit clumsy, and there is still no lair on the way, by the way. This has to be a mistake at this point. Scarlett definitely has money to do so. Warp Prism does go down. All right, one of these DPs just walks into an Oracle, and that's obviously going to go down very quickly, but now I mean, the Queens kind of went down there as well. There is still no lair. Now there's going to be an Evo chamber. Scarlett needs to get a lair going.
Yeah, what is... I mean, some delay on it makes sense, but finally we have that layer. Maybe not the worst timing possible, but a little bit late. I mean, the gas was also pushed off. Trying to get this two gas guys up a little bit sooner, so it did still interrupt Scarlett's plans. It was really a last-minute hold that had to be emphasized. So not much else was being thought of at that point. Astrea gets a lot of time bought. He's going to grab his third Nexus on that gold. And he still will have DTs actually being out in the map. And I really do like that he's making another Warp Prism to threaten that.
You know, the counterattack was brilliant in more ways than one. It didn't just pull the adepts back, obviously, that could have distracted Scarlett, but it forced out the defensive weapons, right? Because Astrea is like, no, I don't want to deal with Zerglings in my natural main. So he warped in 2 units trying to keep the Zerglings at bay. And because of that, he could only warp in 1 Dark Templar on the other side of the map. If that Zergling counterattack doesn't happen, he just warps in 3 Dark Templars. And then the main base is dead. I think the spawning pool is dead. And I think this game is over as well. So.
Well, missed opportunity. Scarlett now takes the bottom base, and she was mining out for a long time. Still is mining it, actually. And I'm sure I should have noticed that if he actually checks back and looks, but I guess the question is, he's really gonna look back at that. He is focusing on his push, blink +1, very common timing, and Scarlett, is she prepared to handle this?
I think at this point the answer is no, but there are more units on the way. The thing is, roach speed is so incredibly late because this lair was like, I don't know, 6 minutes, 30 seconds, something along those lines. So obviously roach speed is not done yet. There are 6 Ravagers morphing, but it's possible, but it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Ling run by is not going to work out. Very good holds on the cannon. Astrea's army is now positioning up in that third, and Scarlett's a little out of position, so not even getting a good start to this. +1's not done. Roach speed isn't quite done. Astrea's Warp Prism needs to get involved in as well. Nice force field to tear apart 3 Ravagers.
Oh, a Depths and a Dark Templar in the natural. That can kill a lot of drones. There are no units in position there at all. Scarlett is making 15 roaches at once, but the roaches that are out are still slow roaches. And obviously, I mean, Scarlett is sending so many units to the natural. Look at the army that's fighting the Protoss army right now. This is an easy victory for Astrea if he really wants to go for it. Ling's on top of the remaining units. Look at these Immortals go from the back line. Oh my goodness, Zombie Grub. I think we're heading into game 5.
I think we are. Astrea has done it despite the, I mean, questionable, game 1. Like, staying in that game as long as he did. He is bringing it back. Game number 5 is happening. And we are